guess one of the hardest things is sometimes compliance with the diets, the specific foods. Do you see that in your practice? Do you see people having difficulty, or are you?
I think all compliance issues, it's a great question because it gets to the heart of the notion of diet in this world, which is automatically conjures up images of depredation and sacrifice and unappetizing foods and short-term success and long-term failure, which is a classic diet mode, which is why there's such a big dietary industry in the United States, because it's so set up to have people continue to try different ways and essentially fail at them and try another way. So in terms of ultimately what I would say is the basic notion, I suppose, of compliance, people tend to look at diets in terms of things they take away from people. In other words, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat this, like that. And for 15 years in my own private practice, I followed that premise because that's as a nature path, that's what you're taught in school. If the person is, make them a vegetarian, if that doesn't work, allergy test them, if that doesn't work, rotation diet them, for instance, do avoidance testing or whatever. By the time you're done, the person has nothing to eat. So that, after a while, was showing that it had no real consistent effects. And I became much more intrigued in looking at what blood type could tell me as to what would be the foods to emphasize in a person. And you can always do that. It's never too difficult to figure out what it is you might do well if you added a bit more of in your diet. It's easily easier for people to adopt the notion that maybe if I'm type O, my goodness, maybe I'm not getting enough protein, let's try and eat more protein. If I'm type A, maybe I should be looking at more complex carbohydrates and grains, maybe cut back on a few things. But it's kind of an accordion. People can very often do as little of it as much as they want because depending upon what their goal is, every little bit will do something. And depending upon their situation, they may require more or less of it. Like sick people do great because they've got a gun to their head, and so they work very hard.
They try harder. So I'm an O, and I can have a little bit of dairy.